The Hegemony Consul sat on the balcony of his ebony spaceship and played Rachmaninoff's prelude in C sharp minor on an ancient but well maintained Steinway, while great green saurian things surged and bellowed in the swamps below. A thunderstorm was brewing to the north. Bruised black clouds silhouetted a forest of giant gymnosperms, while stratocumulus towered 9 kilometers high in a violet sky. Lightning rippled along the horizon. Closer to the ship, occasional vague reptilian shapes would blunder into the interdiction field, cry out, and then crash away through indigo mists. The consul concentrated on a difficult section of the prelude and ignored the approach of storm and nightfall. Hello, friends. What you just heard is the first page of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. It's a great book that I'm very happy to recommend, but today I'm not here to do that. No, today I'm here to ask, what is the best revenge? And to look at revenge through the lens of this character known as the Consul. This is going to spoil parts of Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion. So if you are going to read these books, if you love science fiction like I do, then I recommend you pause this video and come back once you have. Once you do, I will certainly enjoy hearing what you think about my take on this character. So, a little bit of background. Hyperion is set in a world where man has spanned the stars. Faster than light travel, warships, colonizing new planets, everything you can imagine. And the Hegemony Consul is a man who began his career in the diplomatic corps and rose and rose and rose. More success, more responsibility. He's a man of some charisma, a man of some apparent moral strength, a man who others admire and people miss when he's gone. But he's also a man of dark secrets. In one particular conflict between the hegemony of man and an outsider force, his wife and his son were killed. And it's a terrible, awful thing that the consul never talks about or refers to. We're left to try to ask ourselves what kind of pain this character felt and what he did about it. Because on paper, it seems the consul just went about his life. He doubled down on his career. He took on riskier, more difficult assignments, never losing that composure, never losing that grace. But in actuality, this resentment had begun to build and build within this character. And if we're totally honest, it didn't start with this terrible accident. Instead, it started years and years before he was born with his grandmother, who we learn is a revolutionary figure and a native of a planet called Maui Covenant. She's a descendant of the original colonists. During Ciri's lifetime, the hegemony comes to Maui Covenant, convinces its people to establish itself as a protectorate, have some limited interactions with the interstellar government of people, and eventually did become a full-fledged member of the hegemony, where they bring this thing in called a farcaster, which allows instantaneous travel between planets and it entering the sort of cosmopolitan world of the hegemony of man. During this process, which seems to be unstoppable, Siri begins to realize that this is going to destroy the delicate ecosystem and what's good about Maui Covenant, what's beautiful about it and its people. And the last wish she leaves with, she dies with, and gives to her family and friends is a wish to stop this at all costs. The Hegemony Consul, despite being the Hegemony Consul, has absorbed this quest and is waiting for his moment with his resentment bubbling beneath the surface. The death of his wife and his son just gives him additional motivation. When he's asked to go on a secret assignment by the CEO of the hegemony, think of this as like the president of the United States, he accepts. It's a dangerous assignment to go and parlay with a group of humans who have left the hegemony called the Ousters. They live out away from planets. They've evolved. They live in zero gravity. Some of them are adapted to vacuum. They're strange and exotic, and they're believed to be a threat to the hegemony. So he's sent out by the CEO to meet with these ousters with the idea of learning their intentions and finding out some specific things. As soon as the consul arrives, he simply tells the ousters everything they want to know. He makes himself a double agent. He completely allies himself with the ousters and doesn't say a thing about it to the CEO who sent him there. Seemingly, he betrays the hegemony to the ousters. And if you know about his grandmother and if you know about the death of his family, maybe you can anticipate this. But if you didn't, it seems startling. So he makes himself a friend of the ousters, finishes his mission, comes back, gives a limited report back to the CEO of what happened so that he looks good coming out of it, resumes life. Later, he's called back to meet again with the ousters. There's this momentous event on the horizon, this strange metaphysical place known as the time tombs, which travel backwards through time, are about to open. And the ousters seemingly have the technology to trigger its opening prematurely. He meets with them under the instructions of the CEO of the hegemony and finds out what they're doing. In doing so, he's sent down to the planet with 4 techs who have this device that can open the time tombs. And they're doing some tests. The idea is not to deploy the device, but to test it and see that the conditions are right for its use. The consul kills the 4 ouster technicians, uses the device, and triggers the opening of the time tombs, and sets into motion a series of events that he knows will be terrible and catastrophic and may just destroy the hegemony that destroyed his family and his home world. When I think about this, I think about a man of terrible ability and incredible charisma, using his resources to fuel a quest for revenge. And he's successful. He's successful. The time tombs open, and at the conclusion of the fall of Hyperion, the hegemony of man is in tatters, and it's fallen. Here's the thing, though. Here's the horrifying thing. The Hegemony Consul was used. It seems by the end of the book that we learn that the consul's revenge was planned for, was known. When the CEO sent him out to the ousters to parley, she anticipated that he would betray the hegemony, and she sent him with this in mind, hoping that he would do exactly that to get her ends achieved. And then, when the ousters chose him to be the hegemony rep to meet and test this device, he was chosen knowing that he would probably try to activate the device prematurely. The Hegemony Consul, his rage calculated, his motivations understood, his actions predictable, far from being an instrument of the will of his grandmother or anyone else, or even of his own self. He ends up being a mere pawn in his own life, being used by those who know better and are in better seeming control of themselves and their intentions. This character's arc challenges the question of what is the best revenge? But this seems like great revenge on paper. Your government crushes your homeland. Your family dies in a bullshit war precipitated by your government. You conspire to retaliate, to betray them, and eventually destroy them. But at the end of it, you learn that you did exactly what the forces above you expected you to do. You, at the end of the day, made yourself part of someone else's plan by allowing yourself and your action to be dictated by revenge. I had something happen to me this week. Um, Something that confused me, set me back, and honestly, for the last 24 hours, I haven't felt like myself as a result. I felt angry. I felt the need to get some kind of revenge against people who wronged me. I went out for a walk this morning and I thought about it, and this phrase bubbled up. The best revenge is to not be like that. It's a beautiful phrase, a beautiful and liberating and affirming idea that when you're wronged, giving in to revenge makes your will and your actions dictated by others, by circumstance. It takes away your will. Choosing to not be like the person or forces that harmed you allows you to remain yourself, allows you to remain in the seat of your own ability and your own influence and your own will, and to not be the tool of someone else in this life, of some other force. Giving in to petty revenge makes us an instrument to forces greater than us. And it's an instinct that we should resist because giving in to revenge makes us like those who hurt us. And if they truly hurt us, do we want to be like them? I think the answer is no. I think we don't want to be like those that hurt us. And I think we should all aim, in fact, to be better, to not be like that. That's the message for today. Thank you, friends. Until next time, please take good care of yourself and be good to each other. And I'll see you very soon.